This video is about feminine boys. Now, I was at a family gathering not too long ago and I saw something which inspired me to make this video. And there's a few children in this house and they're all running around doing what children do. I can just hear lots of banging and crashing and stuff. That's cool. One of the boys was a bit more troublesome than the rest. And he came up to me and he was trying to fight me and stuff, which is cool. That's what I expect. I expect young little boys to want to fight. That is cool. Afterwards, then he turned around and he started to try and twerk on me. I mean, like, he actually was doing like this on me. I pushed him away and I said, "Don't you dare do that. You are a boy. Boys don't do that." He said, "Oh, all the boys at my school do that." I said, no. And that's what inspired me to make this video right now. The young boys of today, they are too feminine. I'm not even talking about flipping JLS, right? They're just too feminine in their ways. Sitting cross-legged, you know. And do you know what? You know what the problem is as well? Because there's no smoke without fire, right? A lot of the single mums are to blame. But obviously it's because they're picking the wrong types of men. So when the mother is single, right? There's no male influence, usually, yeah? If she's a single mom and she doesn't have a boyfriend there or whatever, there's no father figure. So what happens is that young boy picks up the feminine traits of the mum. Crying, sitting cross-legged, all emotional and stuff like that. Boys are not supposed to be like that. Boys are supposed to be masculine and macho. Even if they're 2, even if they're 10, even if they're 15. It does not matter. Personally, if I had a son, because I don't have any children at this moment, but if I had a son, I would want him to go to a mixed school. Although I want to segregate him from girls so he doesn't pick up girly habits, I would still want him to interact with girls when he gets a chance. Because I still want my son to be a macho man, a masculine man, but I still want him to be able to develop the skills so he can interact with women, because I still want him to be a ladies' man, so therefore he can attract and reproduce with a woman. Up until about a few months ago, I was only interested in having a daughter because I'm the type of man, I have a vision. And if in my vision it's just to only have a daughter, that's what I kind of just set my mind on, kind of thing. It was only up until a few months ago I decided, you know what, I wouldn't even mind having a son now. Not because I want him to carry on my name. I don't really care about things like that. You know, I'll be so great and successful, people will know my name anyway for years to come. So I'm not worried about him, you know, carrying on my DNA or anything like that. I'm not really interested. But if I do have a son, he will be in for a serious shock because there will be no femininity in that boy. Right? Now, I'm not going to beat it into him or try and beat any femininity out of him, but I'm going to raise him like a man. Now, I will take him out to play catch, you know, climb trees, bust conkers in the winter, proper boy stuff, teach him how to fight, all of that kind of stuff. No feminine stuff, no playing with Barbie dolls and playing with girls and all this foolishness. No feminine stuff whatsoever. He'll have his hair shorts like mine. No long cane rolls, none of that. He's not a girl, he's a boy. He's becoming a man. I believe that boy children are supposed to be rough. I believe that boy children should be going out and play fighting and doing rough boy stuff. I don't like when I see little boys doing girl stuff and doing girl activities, like playing with dolls. Like, if they're playing with Action Man, that's fine. But there are some boys, right, they don't mind playing with Barbie. There are some boys, they don't mind playing with girls' hair and doing hair. And it's wrong. Totally wrong. I remember as a child, I used to go to my cousin's house and I'd go in the house and say, you know, hi to his mum, hi to his mum. And my cousin would just appear out of nowhere. I'll see him. And then bam, that's it. We'll just start fighting. No hello, nothing like that. We'll just start fighting. I'm telling you, all holding the walls in the corridor and trying to kick him and stuff. We'll be fighting for 2 hours straight. Then we have like a respite period where for half an hour we probably play PlayStation, play that Tekken game, which is a fighting game. And then back to it, just bam, 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 just fighting. I don't know what was wrong with us, but we were some wild boy. I don't know if it was because we were black or because we were Jamaican, but that's just how it was. And I remember as well, anytime we used to go to a birthday party that had a bouncy castle, all we would do is fight on the bouncy castle. If you're a man right now, or you're a boy right now at least, and you're watching this, and you can't remember fighting on a bouncy castle, you was never a proper boy. you're not a proper man. Because even at my age now, if I got on a bouncy castle and there were people my age or even younger children, obviously I'll take my time with them, but I would just still be fighting, because that's just one of those things, you know. Boys are supposed to be rough. That's how it's supposed to go. Now I remember back in school, for some reason, all we cared about was who was the strongest person in the year. That's all we were obsessed about. And anyone who went to my school or watched this will know that we used to love doing this thing called drapes in, where we grab each other's bags and we swing each other and try and throw each other to the floor. All we were interested in was who was strong in our year group and people who were strong in other year groups in other schools. That's all we cared about. All we cared about was who was strong and who was the most alpha. That is it. I remember when I was a child, I used to go to my step granddaddy's house, and I had two cousins that used to come there now and then when I was there. Yeah, Ryan and Theo. We'll be downstairs, whatever. Next thing you know, we're upstairs on the bed, and all we used to do was fight. That is what proper boys do. All we did was fight. We'd get each other in the headlock for 2 hours straight. We would just be fighting, rocking. That's all we used to do. That's what boys are supposed to do. We used to go upstairs and play WrestleMania on the bed because it was fun. I don't get why boys don't like to do that. Some boys do, but there's a lot of boys who don't like to fight. That's what we're supposed to do. Now, we didn't get any broken noses or bloody faces or anything, but we were rough. We were rough children. That's how boys are supposed to be. Boys are supposed to grow up rough. That's how it's supposed to be. Even in drama, when I was in secondary school, I picked drama as a GCSE option. And I remember, because my drama teacher was actually my form tutor as well. And she said to us, because what they used to do is they used to split us into groups and say, okay, find your own groups and then come up with a performance piece. And the girls used to always come up with some nice little play. And the teacher specifically said to us, boys, you cannot have fights during your drama piece, because that's what we used to do. We used to start off something so minor and trivial, like, oh yeah, we'll be in class acting out a scene. Next thing you know, we'll just bat, fight. That's all we used to do, is fight, because we were proper boys. If I ever have a son and he goes to school and he gets picked on, or he gets, you know, pushed around by any boys or anything like that, I will tell him, you need to go back to school and punch that boy in his face. Oh, Dad, you know, what if the teacher... Don't worry about what the teacher says. I will deal with the teacher. You go back and you defend yourself, or you don't come home. Simple as. I'm not having none of my children, even if they're a girl as well. No one's getting pushed around. No one's getting punked by anyone. I'll teach them to stand their ground from day one. I remember once I was at a child's birthday party, and I think the child was about 5 years old or something like that. And there was all, you know, a few different children there. And I think one of the children's older cousins was a girl, but it doesn't matter about the gender, took a toy from him. And he sat there and he cried. No, go and take your damn toy back. You're not letting no one punk you, and especially in your house. No. If that was my child, it wouldn't even happen. But if it did, I will send him right back over there. He's taking back his toy. I'm not having no one prick him in his own house. There was once a great man who attended my previous taekwondo club. And I don't mention much people's names, but I will mention his name in this video. His name is Dennis. He was the manliest man of all. He was what you would call a man's man. Now, he wasn't 6'5" and built like a tank, but he was a man, right? Funny enough, mentioning tank, he was actually a bomb disposal officer. And he went away. I think he went to America and he came back. And when I was 15, up until I was 15, I used to wear an earring in my ear. Now, I've even still got the hole from the piercing, right? Many years ago, I used to wear an earring. And after class, when the class finishes, obviously we start getting changed, putting on our trainers and jackets, getting ready to leave. And he looked at me and he said, what type of a man wears an earring? And from that day, I removed the earring and never wore the earring again, because I recognized that was a girly feminine trait. Boys and men do not wear earrings. And it's important for a boy to be really masculine. Women like masculine men. Why do you think women like the bad boys? It's not because they're out doing crimes and shooting people, because obviously that's a byproduct of them being, you know, masculine stuff. But it's because they're really masculine, you know, they're rough. A girl once said to me, send me a caveman with a haircut. In translation, that means send me a guy who looks nice on the outside, but he's still got that raw masculinity. That's why some women say they want a corporate thug, right? They want a guy who can dress nice, but he's still got that roughness to him. Women don't like soft, feeble men. How can women are women, if anything, are going to be the ones who are soft and feeble. So how can she hook up with a guy who's soft and feeble? That means you've got two women in a relationship. No, you need a man who is masculine to polarize her femininity. You need a masculine one and a feminine one. It's the same even with homosexuals. Whether there's two women or two men, one is going to be the feminine one and one is going to be the masculine one. That's how it works in life, right? And you lot can think, yeah, we're not animals, but we are animals, right? But that's by the by. Anyway, we know that there has to be one that's masculine and one that's feminine. End of story. But one thing I do understand, I know I cannot force it on my son if I do have a son too much, because there is a chance he could go the other way. There is a chance that he could become really feminine. So I'm not going to be one of these fathers who are really going to pound it and beat it into him, but I'll be a bit more passive with it. So again, as I mentioned, make him do boy stuff, play football, play catch, climb trees, bust conkers in the winter, do boy activities. No girly playing, none of that foolishness. He is a boy and he is becoming a man. So there is a fine line between being too overbearing, too pushy, and just letting him go off and do what he wants. Because there are some boys who, they've got girl cousins, they enjoy playing with their girl cousins. Listen, if I have a son, right, he is not going to play with no girl cousins, especially if they're older than him, because older people usually influence younger people. So if I have a son, he is not going and staying over no girl cousins' houses. There are some boys who would rather, instead of play with boy cousins, they could be in a room full of children, right? There could be 3 boys and 4 girls. They would rather go and play with the girls. No, my son is not going to be one of those boys who go and play with girls or anything. He's a man, becoming a man, and he's going to play with boys. Sadly, I know a few men, they used to be really close as friends, and they kind of fallen out now. Now, I'm hoping and assuming they're going to get back together and become friends again, yeah? But basically, we were having a discussion about sending our children to private school. Now, I will still send my children to private school. Although private school can actually make children soft, I will find a way to still make my son tough and masculine and macho, although he's in a soft environment. So once we were having a discussion, there was about 4 or 5 of us, and it was about sending children to private school and moving outside of London, because where my friends and I grew up, we grew up in a rough area. We had to be tough, because if not, then you'll get swallowed up by the streets. So we grew up in a rough area. Now, someone has children and they've moved out to an area that is what we would class as being a soft area. And one of the friends said to the other person, your sons are going to grow up to be white, because he suggested that although they live in that particular area, do not school your children in that area. School your children in the quote-unquote hood, so they become rough, so they get that masculinity. And it's all to do with children becoming alpha. Now, he does have a point. The one who said, your son will be white, right? Forget about even that word white. Let's just use the word soft. He does have a point, because the only way you can become rough and truly become masculine is when you've been through a rough environment. Look at Prince Harry and look at all these. Those guys are not rough guys. They lived a sheltered life. I'll give you another example. Go to the zoo. Go to the zoo. You will see a lion in the zoo, right? That lion is an alpha male in that zoo, right? He's the king, right? He's the alpha male in that zoo, within that cage, the confines of that cage. Yeah, because he grew up there from when he was a cub to he's a fully fledged lion. He's an alpha male. Yeah, you put that same lion in the jungle, within 2 days he will be dead, because he hasn't learned the skills of survival. He hasn't learned to defend himself, because he's never had anyone to test him. So that person who mentioned about, oh, your children will be soft because they've grown up in a certain area, they do have a point. But you have to find that balance between not allowing your children to grow up in a rough area and giving them a better life, and providing the right circumstances for them to be a good person and not be influenced by bad people around them. So it is really difficult to find that balance. But I will still opt for moving my children outside of London so that they grow up in an environment which is positive, but I still want to have them to have that raw masculinity and that roughness and toughness, because it's a key for survival in life. But as you know, I keep it real. I'm a realist. talking about all this feminine stuff, I actually do get manicures and pedicures. Now, I don't have to admit that and mention that, but I can, because I've reached the stage of masculinity where I can take part in stuff like that. Now, I don't go and get like, you know, pink nail polish and stuff like that. I don't do that stuff. I just like to get my cuticles or whatever they call it cleaned out and stuff. And I like to feel pampered. So that's a treat to myself. And I don't get it done often. And even then, when I walk into that shop, they know there's a masculine man in that shop. And it's so funny as well, because I actually heard something once, and it said something along the lines of, a man feels most masculine when he's around women. And that's when I actually feel even more masculine, when I'm in a shop full of women. Because as soon as I walk in there, all eyes on me, and I've got a good looking face, and especially if I've just come out of the gym as well. Like sometimes I even go out of my way to go to the gym prior to that and wear like obviously a short sleeve t-shirt, because when I come out of the gym I'm really pumped. So I like to go in there and just, you know, be a masculine man and stuff like that. I don't know, I think it's just a guy thing, but yeah. When I'm in there, they know they're talking to a masculine man. They know I'm not some soft or homosexual man. They know they're talking to a man's man when I'm in there. So it's okay for a man to get his nails, like, you know, manicures and pedicures as a treat, right? Even if it's once a month, I don't know. I go maybe once every 6 months, but there's no way I would have a son who is like 18 years old getting that done. No, he's too much in the stages of development. He's too much in his primeval state. I don't want my son growing up and getting manicures and stuff when he's 18. When he's like 21 or 25, yeah, because then you should have reached your peak of masculinity. You should know, you know, the difference between being masculine and feminine. But there's no way I could have a son who's 10 years old getting some flipping manicure and pedicure, unless he was a hand model. There would have to be some business aspect to it or something like that. But my son's not going out and getting no manicures and no pedicures. If you like the video, subscribe. If you don't like the video, change your station.